Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel where you're going to learn all things related to VAs. In this one, we are going to go over the tips in hiring a real estate virtual assistant. It's no different than if you were hiring in-house. You must really, it's important that you plan properly and determine whether hiring a VA is right for you at this time. These tips can help you do that, which can save you time and effort in the future as well as money. One, you got to determine your readiness. When hiring a VA for the first time, ask yourself if you're actually ready to hire and have staff that you're going to be responsible for and you're going to have to manage and do some training. So why are you hiring? Do you have repetitive tasks you need to delegate? What are you looking for in a VA? Do you already have tasks lined up for them to do? How do you want them to deliver these tasks? All these kinds of things are things that you need to ask. One of the biggest mistakes that businesses make when hiring a VA is the lack of readiness for hiring or assigning tasks. So they hire a VA thinking a VA is just gonna be able to come in and take everything off their plate, but they don't really know what tasks to assign. So that's kind of part of that research phase where you gotta make sure that you're kind of, tracking your day, listing out the daily tasks that you do and start to see what you can actually leverage off your plate. So leaving a VA idle doesn't just cost your business money, but prevents them from growing and improving as well. So no one will be happy in that situation, and the productivity will fall, or or just stop altogether. So definitely do your research and really understand what you want a VA to take off your plate. And initially, don't expect too much from a VA. You can't have, they're not superheroes. It's not someone that you're going to come in and just be the end-all be-all of your business. So for example, if you hire a social media marketer to help your social media posts, where they're going to be creating your content and managing your social media, you can't also then expect them right in the beginning to be able to pick up the phone and prospect and cold call people. You have to have clear expectations on what their job roles are. Just like, in the US, if you were hiring a transaction manager in-house, you're not going to hire them to be transaction manager / prospector. It's typically totally different skill sets. So again, just remember right off the bat, hire for the role that you're hiring for the tasks, and then you'll get to know your VA as the two of you begin to work together more and more and begin to see that they're capable of doing so much more, and then they can start taking some other tasks off. But initially, be hyper focused on what it is that you want them to do initially. Create a solid system and method first. So systems and processes are extremely important in scaling a business. When you determined what tasks you'll assign to the VAs, create a solid system for how you want them to be done, and how you want to deliver them. So how are you going to assign the tasks to the VA? How do you want the VA to complete the task? How do you want them to deliver it back to you once it's done? Kind of have those expectations. Again, the same if you were hiring for a position in-house, if you were hiring for a sales manager, you're probably going to have a sales manager job role. So it's the same thing here. So you just want to have those processes documented and create an onboarding manual. So this way it'll help you as you continue to hire, whether it's additional VAs or someone in-house, have that onboarding manual so they know, there's things that they can refer to that to kind of look at what the team standards are and how you typically want things done. So definitely systems and processes. A huge one is, set that standard mean of communication. Just like if you are in-house, you're not going to hire an employee and bring them into your office and you just walk by them every day without talking. Obviously, there's going to be communication. You're going to get to know that team member. Same thing with the VAs. So just establish how you want to communicate, especially at the beginning, whether it's through a daily Zoom initially, just to kind of build that relationship, do some of the training, or we use Slack a lot to where we do a lot of communication in Slack, but you definitely want to set up, that mean of communication. So if your VA has to get in touch with you, or you have to get in touch with the VA, just have that set ahead of time with how that communication is going to happen. It'll just help, make that working relationship that much easier and just make it a lot more efficient. And also know how you want to track their performance. So what are their KPIs? Their key performance indicators. So if it is social media management, are they getting more engagement? Are they building the size, the number of followers, all those kind of things. So you want to make sure that they're doing their work well, and the only way to do that is to have that performance documented. And the duration. So when you are assigning the tasks, make sure they have deadlines, right? So you want this task done by this time. So that's just another way to track your performance. So not just by the job that they're doing, whether it's marketing, if they're creating content that's up to your liking, you track all that, but also the timeline. You want to make sure that they're getting the job done in a reasonable amount of time. All right, so another one is determining their commitment to the business. A lot of times when you get a VA and you build that relationship, one of the reasons that we strictly use the Philippines when we are recruiting VAs is because of their culture. They are very faith-based, they're loyal, they're dedicated. So if you do, build that relationship, you are going to get a very committed VA that can really help you scale your business. So, it comes down to how involved do you want them in your business. I have VAs that are extremely involved. Do you want them working on long-term projects, short-term projects? All these kinds of things just kind of help determine if you should hire a VA right now, and to get that VA to commit to you over the long term, because that is what you want. You do want to bring on a team member who's going to be with you for a long time. So VAs can definitely help. And also, set your budget accordingly. Know ahead of time. Just like in-house, if you were to hire, you're going to have a number that you want. Same thing with VAs, but VAs, the good thing is it's a lot less, where you could start at $3 an hour. Now, if you do want VAs that have a lot more experience, depending on what tasks you want them hiring, then they could get up there. Typically you'll see a lot in the $3 to $5 range, but if you do have someone with a lot of experience, then it could get up to the $6, $7, $8 range. It all depends again on what your budget is and what the job role is. Depending on what the tasks are that they're gonna be doing. So you could hire these VAs overseas, Asian countries like India or Philippines, and it's because they're lower cost of living there. So definitely the cost is a factor. And then hire a VA the same way you would hire an in-house employee. I know when I talk to clients and things like that, one thing that I always pitch is, you want to hire based on the values, on the culture. You can train on the job. So if you may have two candidates, whether it's in-house or it's a VA, you have two candidates, or maybe one is more experienced, but the other one is a much better value fit for you and your business. The value is the core value fit. That is the person who's going to stay with you for a long time, the person you'll be able to grow with and really train them to do the role. I know pretty much everyone has made mistakes in the past. I know I have with hiring in-house and VAs, where I went for the person with the most talent, even though I knew that they weren't the best core value fit for me and my business. Typically doesn't work out. So values are huge. So definitely just hire like you would in-house. Look for the experience, look to make sure that they're gonna fit your culture. And then, once you do that, so those few key things, and you decide you are ready, then we could certainly move forward. This is, again, in the strategy calls that we do. If you click the link below to jump on my calendar for a free business strategy call, we'll kind of dive into a lot of this. So we'll really kind of go into your readiness, what roles you want a VA to take off your plate, what your expectation is in terms of pay for your VA. These are things we'll dive into to really kind of help you understand if you are ready, you want to move forward. So please click the link below, schedule that time on my calendar. I'd look forward to speaking with you.